His computer. And we are going to welcome Danielle Natoni to our call. Hi, Danielle. How are you?
Great. How are you guys?
Good. This is the girls who have qualified for our retreat this weekend. I invited a couple extra, but thank you so much for joining us. We were just doing, we had a little morning session, and then we hopped on at 2 and we started to do some Instagram training and just talking about best performing posts and stuff like that. But, I have a couple other people trying to get in. But I wanted to bring you on. I appreciate you hopping on today. You don't have, though, a couple of us are in Ohio, and we had snow today.
Oh,
Danielle's
yeah, no,
in Las
it's like
Vegas.
90 here.
You are
so jealous.
We have one in Georgia, so she has some nice weather. She is lucky. Here, wait one second. Let me get a couple of these other people in. Sarah, you can hear, right? I saw you just hopped on. Oh, wait, let's see. Oh, I can see her volume's not on yet.
So what was the qualification for this retreat?
So we had an emerald and above. Our spring retreat is usually like an emerald and above retreat. We do have diamonds here as well. And, something that I think I've been a coach for 4 years now, but even as some of these girls have been around for 3 and 4 years, and then others have, just started in the last couple months. But, I asked Danielle to come in and talk about confidence. And Danielle is someone that I saw her speak at Summit, and she has just always been someone who exuded confidence. And even if you watch her on Instagram, and I mean, you guys all know her from Insanity. We have a couple girls that are doing it right now. But if you watch her, she's always been so confident. And I think wherever you're at in coaching, whether, my diamonds and even my girls who have just started, we're always focused or wanting more confidence and more kind of belief in ourselves and our abilities. And I thought Danielle would be an awesome fit. So I'm so happy that she was able to join us today. You guys all know her. I already kind of introduced you before you were like coming on officially, but do you want to go ahead and get started? I know I don't want to take too much of your time today.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. And so I'm going to start out by kind of telling you my Beachbody accolades. And it's not because I think I'm super cool. It's because I want to paint a picture of what's possible for you, because everything that I have achieved, you can achieve and more. I'm no more special or talented than you. I literally just got out of the shower exactly 9 minutes before this call, quickly blow dried my hair. I have no makeup on, but that again is just like the confidence of like, yeah, I'm going to show up as me, because it's not the eyelashes or the makeup on my face. It's the message that comes out of my mouth that you guys need to hear. So I started Beachbody April 15th, 2010. So last month I celebrated my 10-year coaching anniversary, which is really crazy because it feels like we're just getting started. And I also don't feel like I'm old enough. When someone's like, oh, you're an OG or you're an old dog in the business, I'm like, what? I'm so young. That's crazy. But anyway, I am a Superstar Diamond 2 coach, which means that I have achieved Superstar Diamond in 2 business centers. My 3rd business center is 7-star qualifying. My 4th business center is 2-star. My 5th business center is 4-star qualifying. And next week I will open up my 6th business center.
That's awesome.
I am 113 consecutive months SC10 or higher. I was the CEO award recipient in 2016. I am a CAB member. I earned my first cumulative million with Team Beachbody in 2014. Insert income disclaimer here. All independent Team Beachbody coaches must work to their own level of independent awesomeness. No level of income is guaranteed. We are our 5th consecutive year of earning 7 figures in a row, and we are on track this year to earn double 7 figures. And I am, of course, the modifier in Insanity Max 30. I was the band girl in Asylum Volume 2, which I think until this week, no one had ever done, unless you're in Sean's new little 60-day challenge. It's the first time in years I've ever been tagged in one of those workouts, because it's so hard. It's who would do that on purpose? And if you were ever involved in Beachbody Live, I was the Insanity Live format expert and program director. So I created all the Insanity workouts that were taught by instructors worldwide. And I also met my amazing husband, Darren, thanks to Beachbody. Insert relationship disclaimer here. All independent team Beachbody coaches must find their own husband. No relationship status is guaranteed. But I share all of that because we are 8-time elite team, 2-time top 10. We're tracking to potentially be 3-time top 10. That's the goal for this year at least. And, all of that is like really, really cool and sounds really, really fancy if you're in the Beachbody world. But honestly, you guys, I didn't come into this any differently or any more qualified or any more special than any of you. Matter of fact, I would actually say I came in at a deficit. Because when I joined, I had never heard of our company. I had never done any of our workouts, and I was already super fit. So I had the cards stacked against me. When people say, oh, I don't think I could do what you do because I'm not as fit as you are. I'm like, well, actually, it's a lot harder when you start out already fit because you have to work harder to prove to people that your results are a byproduct of Beachbody. I was also in a very different marriage when I first started, so I know what it's like to have an unsupportive spouse. I also was in a very different place in my life as far as the people I was surrounded by and my emotional and financial well-being. I put my bank account in the negative to join this company. And I always say that that was the best, worst financial decision I ever made. The people who tell me they can't afford to become a coach, I tell them that they're the people who can't afford not to. Because if I had continued to do the same thing over and over again, my life potentially would not have changed, and neither would the lives of so many others. So when I started this business, there really was no reason for me to join. I was an elementary school teacher. My kids were much smaller. They were 8 and 4, which is crazy considering my oldest daughter is getting ready to be a sophomore in college, but they've grown up with and through Beachbody. And I needed a second job. I needed a way to try to make it paycheck to paycheck. I was a school teacher, so I got paid once a month. I was up to my eyeballs in debt. We had credit card debt, payday loan debt. I was borrowing from friends, from family. I would have to take a calculator to the grocery store, and every item that went into the cart had to go on the calculator to make sure that I had enough money. And oftentimes I would play the check game, which is I would go shopping late on a Friday night, write out a check, and not intentionally wanting to bounce it, but hoping that potentially the grocery store wouldn't cash it till Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning. And maybe, just maybe, I could get the funds in there in time. And so I was in a place of, I need a second job, but I did not want to wait tables or bartend, which is what I had always done on the side. And I loved fitness, which I know is weird, maybe for some people in the beginning. I know you all probably love it now. And I thought to myself, if I have to get a second job and work in addition to my teaching job, I really would love to do something that brings me some kind of joy. And I used to work out at the gym every single day, and I would look upstairs at the group fitness studio, and those girls seemed so happy and bubbly and fit. And I thought, well, surely they make a lot of money. Well, I didn't know that they didn't, thankfully, but that's what brought me. And that was kind of the point at which I met the person who introduced Beachbody to me. So I went to get certified in Turbo Kick, and I took my then tax refund and paid to go to that training. And at that training, I met my upline. And she tells a story of like that I walked in all confident and with long legs and, all this. And she thought, gosh, she looks like she has it all together. But see, I didn't. And so the reason I always tell this piece of the story is because don't not recruit me. She could have looked at me with my long hair and my confidence because I entered a room. I never let anyone know. I always was really good at pretending that my life was perfect, even though it was crashing down. So she could have looked at me and prejudged me and thought she's already fit. She's kind of cute. Like she seems really bubbly. Like I'm sure her life is amazing. I'm not going to share with her what I have to offer. Don't not recruit me. It's so easy to recruit the person who has 20 pounds to lose. It's really easy to recruit the person who you guys all have somebody on your list who you are too afraid to invite. Right now, there's a person who popped into your mind who is your goal coach, who is like your dream person, but you're not inviting her. because you don't think she needs what you have to offer, and you do not know that. Matter of fact, oftentimes it's the people who are the most put together on the outside that are crumbling the most on the inside. So I always am so grateful that she didn't prejudge me. And I always say, don't play God. You don't get to decide who this is for and who it's not for. So your job is to tell everybody and see who it's a fit. And I'm so grateful that Jackie looked at me that day and thought, I'm going to tell her about this. Because honestly, had she not, who knows? I could still be in that very unhealthy marriage. I could still be in debt. And then I think about the domino and ripple effect that would have created. You guys probably have heard of or know a lot of the top leaders on my team: Ashley Molstad, 2-time top coach, Tanya Barron, like Lori Stewart. Like, we have these elite, like, people who have these huge teams. And that ripple, that domino effect of me deciding to say yes, none of that might have happened if she'd have looked at me and thought, I'm not going to tell her, I'm too afraid. So when this call is over, or when your retreat weekend is over, I encourage you to reach out to that girl who's in your mind right now, because she's in there. You've thought about it. You're like, she would slay this, but I'm too afraid to ask her because she probably doesn't need what I have. And that couldn't be more far from the truth. And if it is, then let her tell you that. Then at least you know, and you won't always wonder. So that day, when I sat down at lunch and we had a discussion, she asked me if I'd ever heard of Beachbody, and I said no. She asked me if I'd ever heard of Insanity, and I said no. She asked me if I'd ever heard of P90X, and that kind of rang a bell. And she didn't tell me about Shakeology. She didn't tell me even that much about the workout programs. She didn't tell me how to earn money or about the compensation plan or about Emerald. She looked at me and just said, I think you would crush it. And I always tell that part of the story because you or your coaches probably get really wrapped up in needing the perfect script, not sure what to say. Can't you just tell me, what do I say to this person? On every call I get on, somebody's question is, what scripts do you say in your invite? What do you say when you're reaching out to people? And you're so focused on like these magical words instead of pouring belief into others. It was her belief in me before I believed in myself that mattered more than anything else. Don't worry about any of that. I didn't care in that moment about the compensation plan. I didn't care in that moment about how to earn money. All I knew is that this woman with this beautiful blonde hair and this sweet Southern voice, who I thought emulated everything I wanted to be, saw something special in me. And I needed that in that moment. And so that night, I went home and I told my now ex-husband, I was like, I solved all our financial problems. I was like, I'm going to be a Beachbody coach. And he was like, what is that? I'm like, I really don't know. And I didn't. But think about it. You know, I'm sure you've heard the saying, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And that is so true. I was the right person in that moment. And so it matters not what you say, it matters more how you say it. And that's why this subject, this topic of confidence matters so much. When you don't think Shakeology is worth how much we pay for it, nobody else will either. And if you think that you're scared to tell somebody about this business because you're not exactly sure, you haven't reached the status in which you want, that will come across to the people that you talk to. It matters more how you say it than the actual words that come out of your mouth. And so that day in that group fitness room, I just know that she believed in me and that she was doing really cool things with it. She had shared with me that she'd just come back from Hawaii. That was her Success Club trip that year. She had shared with me that she was featured in an infomercial for Turbo Jam. That seemed really exciting to me. And she mentioned that she was able to contribute to her family's mortgage payment with her earnings. And I thought, well, that sounds exactly like what I need. But I didn't need for her, if she had in that moment said, and there's 2 ways we earn money, one is through commissions and one is through team cycle bonus, I might have tuned her out. It didn't matter. Matter of fact, she didn't even tell me about Shakeology until I went to sign up, and I actually called her. I'm like, hey, it's asking me to upgrade to Shakeology. Like, what is that? I think sometimes we get so caught up in all the little minutia that we know that we forget the person who needs it doesn't really care. They just like you. They want to be a part of whatever it is that you're doing, and you'll answer all their questions along the way. But you've got to have that tall posture. You've got to truly believe in who you are and what we do. And thankfully, my upline did. And that's what got me started. So when I signed up, I actually quit the same day I joined. I signed up. I got really paranoid because back then, I don't know, some of you look young, but there were these things called checks, and that's how you paid your bills. And you put them in the mail with an envelope with a stamp on them. And so the money didn't immediately come out of your bank account. You had to like, do people even know how to balance their checkbook anymore? Right. So I had technically money in my account for the fee to go through, but I didn't really, right? Because there was checks that had not been cleared yet. And so I started to have a little bit of anxiety, and I actually called and told her, I'm like, I need to cancel and I need my money back. So I canceled that same night, got my money back, but too late. You know, by the time they refunded it, checks already bounced. And in those 30 days, that was in March of 2010. And in those 30 days between March and when I actually joined, Beachbody was everywhere. It was like the universe was literally planting little sprinkles of Beachbody in my life wherever I went. The following weekend, I took the rest of my refund and got certified in PIO, which is where I met Melissa McAllister for the very first time. And at that point, I was quit. And Melissa lived in the same town as me, whereas Jackie lived like 2 hours away. She could have taken me. I wasn't signed up. We were talking about Beachbody, and I told her how previously, the week before, I met Jackie and I signed up, but then I quit. Melissa could have been insincere in that moment to her own values, but instead she looked at me and said, if you sign up again, make sure you sign up with Jackie because it'll be a perfect fit for you. And Melissa and I have worked very closely together. In the beginning, she mentored me like I was her own. And now, we have become success partners. We've presented on stage at Summit together. And so another piece of that is always do the right thing. That's one of my husband and I's core family values. No matter what decision you are faced with, no matter what you're looking at, there's really only one right answer, and that's to do the right thing. And in your gut when you're doing the right thing. And I'm grateful for, while sure, maybe my trajectory might have looked different with Melissa, but maybe it wouldn't have gotten me to the path where I was. Because Jackie, an amazing upline and to her team now, wasn't that amazing back then. She had a lot going on in her life. And so I actually self-taught myself a lot. And you know what? I kind of think I'm stronger for it. In my personal opinion, we baby coaches. In my personal opinion, we overtrain and we treat them like employees instead of the independent business owners that they are. And I always think it's incredible when someone wants to call themselves a boss babe or a CEO, but really what they are is an employee because they want someone to tell them when to do it, why to do it, how to do it, where to do it, instead of just saying, I'm going to figure it out and I'll ask you questions along the way. So I wound up, joining, and you're probably thinking, okay, well, right away you had immediate success. And the answer to that would be no, I did not. Because I didn't clue in to the simple systems in place. I did not start one of our home workouts. Now, granted, the world is so easy for a coach right now. You guys, you have Beachbody on demand with literally thousands of workouts to choose from. Okay. We had DVDs. We had Turbo Jam, Insanity, P90X that had a 90-minute yoga in it, right? 90 minutes of yoga with Tony. And we had something called Yoga Booty Ballet. Oh, and Brazil Butt Lift. Right? So, I mean, when people are like, oh my gosh, it's so hard. I'm like, are you on drugs? I'm like, you have Amwala and Joel and you have all these amazing programs, digital. You got one program sent to your house on a DVD, one of which, made you ooh, shake a yarumba. Are you crazy? It was so much harder. So I wasn't doing one of our at-home workout programs because I was a gym rat. Ever met one of those? I don't do home workouts. Well, where are all the gym rats doing right now? And I wasn't drinking our shake. And you guys, you all have it so easy right now too. You have 4 flavors of vegan Shakeology. You have like 5 flavors of regular. We get seasonal flavors. We had chocolate and the original formulation of greenberry that literally tasted like licking grass. Those were our 2 shakes. That was it. So I wasn't drinking our shake because I eat my food. I'm not a shake person. You ever had one of those? You're like, really? Oh, does that make you cooler than me because you choose to chew instead of swallow? And then I also was skipping personal development because in my mind, I'm a full-time elementary school teacher. I have 2 small children, an unsupportive spouse, and I got certified to teach fitness. Well, the only way you can make money in fitness is to show up to class. So I was teaching anywhere from 14 to 20 group fitness classes a week. In addition, I also got certified to become a personal trainer, and I was training clients before and after school at the gym as well. So in my mind, I'm like, I have 0 time to read books. And I also thought self-help books were for weird people, like the kind of people who cut up Barbie heads and put them in shoe boxes under their bed. And I'm like, I don't do that. So I don't need self-help. When really I needed that more than anything, right? I was living in a constant state of paranoia, wondering if bill collectors were going to call, debt collectors were going to call. Nobody knew how effed up my life is. Matter of fact, my husband today, still, like when we take our nightly walks, like sometimes I'll have a flashback to an old memory and I'll share it with him, and he'll be like, your life is crazy. Your life was crazy. Like people don't even know half of the stuff that you went through. And I'm like, yeah, because I hit it really, really well. And I just don't talk about it. I needed personal development more than I needed anything else. And I wasn't sharing because I didn't have a connection to Beachbody, because I wasn't doing our workout or drinking our shake. I was banking on the fact that I was cute and fit and people liked me to help me make sales. So when we say like the 4 vital behaviors, when I tell people that seriously, the only reason I'm successful is because I press play, I drink my shake, I read or listen to personal development, and I talk to people both in person and online, and I repeat, I mean it. Those 4 vital behaviors truly are the magic. And when often I find somebody who is struggling or they're not successful, there's something going on in one of those key areas. They're not as committed to their workout as they should be. They're not as dialed into their nutrition as they should be. They're reading personal development because they want to check mark that piece off their Success Club tracker, but they're not really implementing it. They're not really absorbing it. They're not really like taking it in fully, or they're reading books because somebody else said it was good. They hate the book, and so therefore they're getting nothing out of it. You know you have permission to stop reading a book if you don't like it, right? I am here to tell you, I'm so glad you love Rachel Hollis. I could give 2 flips about her. I do not find her books interesting. I don't care. Like, I wash my face every day. You ain't got to tell me, girl. Like, she was great at Summit. She was fine. And I love that other people love her, but it's not for me. So it would not make sense for me to plug into every training she did or every video that she did or read every book that she has simply because other coaches think it's great. I have to read what fuels my soul, what makes sense for me. So when I first started, I was an Emerald coach because I was able to convince a couple people. But other than that, I was spending more than I was making, which defeated the entire purpose of me doing this. And I would watch other people be successful and I'd get angry. Thursdays were my least favorite day of the week. And I think for a lot of coaches, it still can be, right? I think, and you may have done this before, on a Thursday, you're scrolling through Facebook, you see somebody get shouted out for a rank advancement, and in your mind you think, well, why is she hitting that? And she started after me, or I should be that. Like, we've all done it where instead of being joyful for somebody else's success, we compare their race to ours. And so I got to a point where I'm like, okay, either I'm going to make this work or I've got to quit and go back to attending bar. And I went to an event. And while I know the world is different right now, I do hope we get back to a space where we can have Super Saturdays and we can have summits and leaderships because they're important. And while Zoom calls are great and you have an incredible leader to put on this virtual retreat for you guys, there is still nothing like being in a room with other real life humans and feeling that magic. And in that event on November of 2010, that was the moment, like that's the pivotal moment in my business where everything changed. Because I watched people walk across the stage and share their story. And there was one girl in particular who started the same month as me. She actually taught the 10:30 class on Saturday at the gym, and I taught the 9:30 class, so I knew her very well. And she shared that she was a diamond coach and she was contributing to her family's mortgage with her earnings. And I was an emerald coach and I was spending more than I was making. And that was my no more moment. Whatever fuels people, that was it for me. That was the moment I drew a line in the sand and was like, if she can do it, so can I. This isn't difficult. Takes hard work, but hard work never goes unrewarded. But it's not rocket science. It's not biochemistry. It's not astrophysics. It's, matter of fact, the coolest job on the planet, because your number one job is to be the healthiest version of you and tell other people about it. You share stuff you love all the time. Your favorite lipstick, your favorite hair product, your favorite little friend shirt that you got at Target. And you tell everybody about it. But guess what? Target doesn't care. Target doesn't send you a check and say, thanks, girl, for shouting us out. So what's super cool about what we do is that we get to be the best versions of ourselves, tell other people about it, and then we get financially compensated for doing it. Bare bones, that's this business. Sure, you can run diamond trainings in groups and, do calls and whatever, but ultimately, if you press play and you talk to real life humans, you can build a pretty solid business. So in that moment, I decided that I was going to be a diamond coach within 2 weeks. Literally, that was it. It was a decision. You'll often hear emerald is a decision. I think diamond is too. It's 12 coaches, 8 personally sponsored by you, 4 personally sponsored by someone else. Not 120, not 1,200, 12. 2 hands plus a little bit extra. It's not that many people. It's literally your neighborhood, the street you live on. 12 people. And so in that moment, as an only child, so it wasn't even family members, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And that's important because whatever goal you're reaching for next, have you truly decided that you are going to hit it? Every goal that I've gone for, it was a decision to get. In 2017, I decided we would go for Superstar Diamond 2. But I didn't really feel it. The people on the team, the energy, it was kind of like a goal I put out there because I felt like we should. And because of that, we didn't hit it that year. But in 2018, the magic was right, the energy was right, the people was right, and I decided this will be the year that we walk that stage at Summit as the 7th team in the company to achieve Superstar Diamond 2. And we did it. Now I'm like, okay, I want to rank advance again. I don't know if it's Superstar 3, but I want to show my team that 10 years in, it's still possible. So I decided, and so here we are. 7-star qualifying in my 3rd business center, 4-star qualifying in my 5th business center. Like, we are going to make things happen. Why? Because I decided. And what you feel, you project. And what you project is what your team gives back. So if you're wishy-washy on your goals, if you're like, well, maybe I'll be diamond, or I think I'll be elite, and you wonder why you have a team that is not confident, that doesn't believe in themselves, well, you've heard that the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. Well, the same is true with belief. The belief of the leader is the belief of the pack. And I firmly believe that the only thing that I'm really good at from a leadership position is that I believe in myself and I pour that out to my team. And therefore my team believes in themselves. How many of you are moms on this right now? A couple of you. Great. So I always say that leadership is very similar to parenting in that your job is to instill belief in your kids, to model great behaviors, to show them the way, to pick them up when they fall, and then eventually for them to spread their wings and fly. Like Adriana, my oldest, I can't still go to college every day, make sure she brushed her teeth and got to class and ate her dinner, but I instilled good behaviors and good belief in her that she now, for the most part, makes good decisions. And when she has questions, I ask them. And when she needs to pick me up, I help her. And when she has something to celebrate, I celebrate her. Well, the same is true with coaching. Your job isn't to do everything for your coaches. Your job is to model great behavior, to be them be there for them when they fall, to celebrate them when they do something amazing, but for them to spread their wings and to be able to fly. And so if you're doing everything for your coaches, they won't have belief in themselves because they're going to look to you and say, tell me what to do. And if you don't believe in you, then you're going to look at your upline and do the same thing. And what you create is actually a generations deep in your downline of people who don't believe in themselves because it travels upline. For those of you that are parents too, I always say that when you dream small, you teach your kids to do the same. But when you dream big, you shatter that glass ceiling for them and you allow them to live into their purpose. Imagine if you decided you don't believe in yourself. Would you ever go up to your kid and teach them to not believe in themselves? Of course not. But when you say, I'm not worthy of a goal, or I'm not going to push for that goal, or I don't think I'm good enough for this, they see that. No differently than they see the way you look at yourself in the mirror. No differently than if you call yourself names, or if somebody says, wow, you look really pretty today. Oh, no, I don't. Or, wow, girl, you look really good. Oh, I still have 10 pounds to lose. They hear it, they see it, and guess what happens? They wind up having weight issues as well. And the same is true with belief. If you want your kids to grow up to be whoever they want to be, then you need to be whoever the hell you want to be. And if you want your team to rank up, you've got to rank up. And the only way that that happens is if you have deep rooted belief in yourself. So that day, that minute that I decided that I was going to be a diamond coach, the rest has been history, so to speak. I've never looked back. I've never doubted myself. I've never said, okay, I'm not in this. There was never a time where I plateaued. There's never been a time where I've pulled back from the business. Matter of fact, in the hardest moments of my life is where I leaned in even further. So what I would say to you is if your business is something that you truly love, then you need to love yourself enough to believe that anything and everything is possible for you. What are your goals? What are you going for and why? Do you want your kids to see what you're doing and what you're accomplishing and to be proud of you so that they too know that they can do it? And here's the thing. If you're not hitting Success Club, your coaches won't hit Success Club. If you're not rank advancing, your coaches won't rank advance. If you're not inviting, your coaches won't invite. Whatever you do, they do. And whatever they do, their coaches do. So the stronger that you are in belief, in work ethic, in conviction, in love for this business, that is what will get passed down line. So anyway, I don't know. That's all I got, Laura. Hopefully that's what you wanted from me.
You're awesome. I think a couple of you guys have heard her speak at Summit. I know last year I heard you speak because I was in like the other room, but she always brings like the fire and the passion, and I appreciate that so much. And you guys, she is so established in her business. She just celebrated 10 years, but she still puts in the work. And, she still shows up for training people on the Beach by Champions page and graciously, coming on our call today. And I think that really speaks volumes to who you are, not only as a person, but as a leader. And like she said, she does the work and she puts it in, and then that success follows. You could see in her team who has also kind of followed her path. So thank you so much. You are such a good teacher. She was a former teacher, but you're still such a good teacher and motivator. Does anyone have any questions for her or any advice?
I just wanted to say something. Danielle, you like spoke to me just because I'm a very blunt person. I'm very like, here's how it is. Let's talk it out. I'm like blown away. Like I don't have room on my page, which I feel like a nerd, but like, I honestly appreciate you because I think, genuine people like you, there's not a lot like that out there sometimes. So hearing that, like, kudos. Thank you. Seriously.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And here's the thing, you guys, I firmly believe the reason I do stuff like this is because I do think we make this way more complicated than it needs to be. You do not need fancy graphics. You don't have to show up with your full lashes on. Like if you want to, great. If you love graphics, amazing. And if you like TikTok, cool. But I also think like we make this seem so much harder than it is. And at the really, seriously, the bare basics, I'm like, if I wake up every day and I press play on my workout and I drink my shake and I get on social and I share my true authentic self, I say to real life humans in my life every day, and I repeat, I'm going to be okay. Like this business is going to keep on moving and keep on thriving. You know, my husband is actually really great at the in-person kind of share of this. And I always forget that. Like every person that comes to this house, the people who do our landscaping, the people who set up our technology, like the cleaning ladies, like every person winds up leaving here wanting Shakeology. Yesterday he did a call with this old gymnastics coach that he used to do gymnastics with. And at the end of it, he texts me, he's like, yeah, they need Beachbody on Demand and chocolate vegan Shakeology, because he just loves it so much. It's just like a natural conversation for him to have, but you'll never see him run his own challenge group. He's not going to get out there and, and promote it big time on social, but he loves just sharing it in real life, because honestly, that's how this business was founded. It was founded on the idea of people were loving P90X. They were getting great results. They were telling other people about it. And so Carl thought, well, what if there was a financial opportunity on the other side of that? And I think sometimes we lose sight of that. And we think that there's got to be, but can I watch more training videos? Or, but do you have a graphic for this? And it's like, that's great. And if that's your vibe and your style, cool, but none of that matters. Really, at the end of the day, none of it matters. It's hard work, it's authenticity, it's consistency, and it's being proof our products work. Truthfully, there is not a single person on this planet now that cannot deny that my day in and day out behavior is primarily attributed to Beachbody. And when you can get to that place where people are like, yeah, okay, I want whatever it is she's drinking, then you're in a really good spot. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Sarah, for that compliment. But honestly, I just think that the simpler that we can continue to make this for people, the more people will see how cool this opportunity is.
Kaylee, did you have something you wanted to ask or add?
Well, she just nailed it. I was going to say, I think what I love the most is just how you have that foundation of just keep it simple and do the basics and be your authentic self. Because I think when you're in that spot of like emerald and diamond, you see everybody else. So you want to make it all of these things, but if you just keep it simple, you're going to be able to get yourself there. So I just loved your message and how genuine you are. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. And yeah, like I'll use Instagram stories as an example. And if you do this, keep doing it. It's not for me. Like so many coaches now do like these super intricate, like story template slides or whatever. And I'm like, yo, stories was supposed to be like raw and just like behind the scenes and like a day in the life of. So on my Instagram stories, like you see me all the time with no makeup on, and there's no fancy slides and no fancy templates. More curated is my main feed, but my stories. And so what happens is I'll have a lot of new coaches who are like, so where do I get those story templates, or what, where do I do that? And I'm like, none of that matters yet, and if that's your vibe and your jam, that's cool. But I think what happens is we get so caught up that if one person does it and they're successful, then everybody probably needs to do that. And that's just not the case. It's okay to do what feels right for you. There's not one right way to do Beachbody, but there's probably a right way for you to do it in a way that works and makes sense and feels good. We have like our saying between my husband and I is like, the way we do this business is don't be gross. Like that's our business model. Like don't be gross. And by gross, you've seen like people who are like, oh, that was a really gross email, or like, oh, that was a really gross story template. Just don't be gross. If you're not gross, you're going to be fine. You're going to build this business amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Does anyone else have anything to ask or anything? I mean, she's a powerful leader, powerful coach. Yeah, I didn't know you were a PIO live instructor though. I think that's the only thing I didn't know that you were.
Oh yeah, I've done it all. So I was certified in all our formats. And then I used to present Country Heat and Size because I've started as a dancer, and then of course Insanity. And then I'm certified in cycling, and I used to be certified in Zumba, and like you name it, I'm certified in it. I just like movement, except for running. Running sucks, but maybe one day I'll change my mind about that.
When the Dallas is workout.
I know. That's what I told my husband last night. We ran the 2.23 miles for, I run for Maud, and I'm like a little bit of a toe runner. So like my calves always hurt. And he was trying to give me advice. I'm like, just hush. I'm like, I'm not running again until like a Dallas's program comes out. So at that point you can start like lecturing me on form. Right now we're fine.
I love it. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Happy Mother's Day, and
Y'all
have
too.
a wonderful day.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yay. Awesome. You guys excited?